Hi students, today we are going to see the chapter Reflection and Refraction, which is a part of 10th CBSE. Now, in the previous classes, you have seen one of the important characteristics of light, that is reflection. Not only that, we have also studied the other property of light, that is refraction. Now, at our level, in 10th standard, we'll study in more depth, like what are different laws of refraction, and of course anyway laws of reflection are seen, and some of the applications when it comes to uh, images and different lenses. We'll see all the applications with regard to different types of mirrors and lenses like concave, convex, biconcave, biconvex, and so on and so forth. Now let me present you as a part of it the PowerPoint presentation, so which I take you through to understand the concept in a more better way. Now, you can see now is now all of you can see my screen. So, right, this is all about reflection and refraction. Not only these properties, but also light exhibits different phenomena in different circumstances. We have other cases like diffraction, polarization, and so on and so forth. They are also very important characteristics of light, so which we observe in higher uh, classes like +2 and even degree level, university level. Now, the thing is that first let us just define the basic properties like what is light, what is reflection of light, diffraction of light. Okay, then we go into depths their properties. Now coming to light, so we might have seen and studied light in different cases, but as an electromagnetic wave, we have not seen so far. Let us just try to define light as an electromagnetic wave or ray that travels in a straight line. So that is the basic form of the light. It is an electromagnetic wave. Now, so lights are nothing but all the light rays are electromagnetic rays or electromagnetic waves. So what are the properties attributed to electromagnetic waves? Light rays also consist of the same properties. Now coming to the first definition, that is reflection of light, we know whenever light travels uh, and falls on a surface and is reflected back, when it bounces off into the same region, when it is um, going from one medium to another medium, particularly one optical medium to another optical medium, bouncing off into the same region from which it is falling, that is said to be the reflection of light. So that property we refer to as reflection. Now coming to refraction, so it is other phenomena like where the light bends whenever it passes from one medium to another medium, exactly at the surface of separation, it bends. So bending of the light ray at the surface of separation is said to be the refraction property. So when light ray travels from one medium to another, it bends from its original path. So it can happen in two ways, which we study. That when it is traveling from lighter medium to denser medium, what is the case, and from denser to rarer, what is the case. That's all we are going to see now. Now, there are some important definitions with regard to the light rays. The first thing is we have to study incident ray. So as the name implies, incident ray is the ray of light that falls on the reflecting surface. So a light ray which just falls on the reflecting surface is said to be incident ray because it gets incident, it is incident on the one of the surfaces. So we call it as incident ray. Similarly, we can define reflected ray, the ray of light that is sent back by the reflecting surface. So therefore, again, the same case, just like whatever the surface on which the light ray gets incident, the same may be the surface that reflects it back. So because reflection is the property in which it bounces off into the same medium, so therefore that ray, whatever the ray that is reflected back, bounce off into the same region is said to be reflected ray. Now coming to the very important definition called normal. So as the same in mathematics, we refer to one line which is perpendicular to a given plane is said to be normal. Here also a normal to the surface of separation. So it's a line at right angles to the reflecting surface at the to the point of incidence. So therefore, exactly at the point of incidence, if you draw a straight line perpendicular to the surface, that is said to be normal. Now, other important definitions with regard to the same light in reflection, basic refraction are, first one is angle of incidence. So therefore, always it is important for us to calculate the angle between incident ray and normal. And as such, the angle is said to be angle of incidence. Now, it is represented by the symbol small I. Now, so it is just for your thought again, it is the angle between incident ray and of course normal. So therefore, you can just assume what is the ray and how it looks like. Now, coming to the angle of reflection, same. We can also define angle of reflection, that is the angle between normal and reflected ray. So that is said to be angle of reflection, and it is represented by small r. Now coming to the object. So it's the thing that forms an image on the screen. So we have one thing like we have object and what are the object with which the image is formed. So therefore, we can define object is the thing that forms an image on the screen. So whatever the object may be, it can be a candle, it can be any other simple object. Now, so then what is image? Because we are going to study different parameters like what is the object distance, what is the object height. So, well, when it comes to magnification, because we are all going to study these things, so therefore it is important for us to learn these definitions. Next thing is image, where it is the reflection of the object on the screen. So it's a mere reflection of the object on the screen is said to be image, as we generally get images in mirrors. Now, so this image again is of two kinds. One is virtual image and real image. So coming to virtual image, it is the image that cannot be obtained on a screen. So whereas a real image is the one which can be obtained on the screen, virtual image cannot be obtained on the screen. So a surface where image is formed is said to be the screen. So therefore, you can see here the image that is formed directly on the screen, just as a projection of the object. That is what. So it can be captured on the screen, real image, whereas virtual image we cannot capture. Next, you see loss of reflection. Anyway, we have seen in the earlier classes. You can easily see here. Let me point here. This is what this is the surface of separation. You can see it can be a plane mirror as well. So therefore, the light that gets incident in this direction. So therefore, if you assume a light ray in this direction and that is getting incident over here, this point is said to be point of incidence. And from here, actually, because the light ray is bouncing off into the same medium, now this is called a reflected ray. So therefore, once the incident ray and reflected ray are known, then as I said, normally is the perpendicular drawn at the point of incidence to the surface of separation. So this acts as surface of separation, the red line. So therefore, we can easily know here point, we can mention the angle of incidence as the angle between the incident ray and the normal. Similarly, angle of reflection is the angle between the normal and the reflected ray. That's how we can have no calculation here, angle I and angle R. So first thing is, typically there are two laws of reflection we have. So when I say law of reflection, so the governing equations or governing laws we have with regard to reflection are. So reflection property is governed by what? What principles? More of. So that is how we can see now here the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So mathematically, angle I is equal to angle R for all angles of incidence, particularly the angles between 0 degrees to 90 degrees, that is acute angles. The incident ray is again the reflected ray. The second law, if you look at angle of reflection, you can observe here the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal. These three lie in the same plane. So when I say plane, actually I refer to the surface, So therefore, incident ray, because it's only a ray, and reflected ray, and only because I am typically taking only one ray, and of course normal also I am considering as a perpendicular drawn at the point of incidence. So therefore, these three lie in the same plane. So that is what is called the second law of reflection. So therefore, and this one anyway, we cannot take it as a law, but anyway, the incident ray and the reflected ray lie on either side of the normal. So basically, there are only two laws. One is the angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Mathematically, angle A is equal to angle A. And then we have incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal lying in the same plane is said to be the second law of reflection. Now, coming to properties of images formed by a plane mirror. So initially we start with plane mirrors, then we move on to different types of lenses and even some more examples of mirrors. So let us start with plane mirror, then we move on to a this one like a spherical mirror, which is either a concave mirror or convex mirror. Then we move on to image like lenses, wherein we have different lenses. So different combinations of lenses are possible. So here initially, if you start with a plane mirror, so here the image form, because you can see over here that actually candle acts as an object here. So if the plane, if you just assume a plane mirror over here, the left side portion is actually reflecting surface, and right side the portion is it is totally coated, right? So therefore, you can easily get actually see you can see over here. Now in the plane mirror, what you can see actually, now keeping your eye over here, so you can simply see the light rays coming from the candle, they get reflected in the plane mirror. So as a result, they come in this direction. But if you look from this part, see in this direction, as I is mentioned over here, so therefore light rays assumed to be, they look like they appear to come from a particular point like this. So therefore we have, in this case, the image is virtual and erect, because in the case of plane mirror, it's virtual and erect. So it's not at all inverted, it is only erect only. So because if you look from this perspective, from this direction, then obviously, yeah, the light rays seem to come from a particular point from here. So where the candle's image is formed. So it's virtual and erect, and then of the same size as of that object. So here, whenever we have to study the properties of images, we have to look at the nature of the image, size of the image, and shape of the image. So just now we have seen the nature of the image as virtual and erect. And the second thing is size. If you look at the size of the object, so if image size is same as object size. So then at the same distance from the mirrors as the object is in front of it. So actually, if you look at the distance at which the image is formed, almost at the same distance from the mirror as the object is in front of it. So therefore, because in a plane mirror we can see a virtual image, that erect image that we can see inside the mirror. So at a distance equal to the same from that plane mirror and object are there. So within the mirror, actually within the same, at the same distance, we can have the image observed. So it is laterally inverted. That's what, when I say lateral, I mean to say, yeah, the only thing is in the plane mirror, actually, you have the basic criteria that whatever the right hand side portion, it appears as left hand side, and that is what we call laterally inverted. So a L looks like an inverted L. So that's how we can see the cases with images. Now these are the properties with this one, plane mirror. So once we complete plane mirror, then we have spherical mirrors. Spherical mirrors are of two types, like concave and convex. So within the one mirror, spherical mirror, we can have both concave and convex as per the case maybe, and the reflecting surface and coating. So like if you see concave mirror, basically it's a spherical mirror that has its reflecting surface curved inwards. So reflecting surface, if it is curved inwards, then it is called concave mirror. Concave, that means the outer bulged portion will be, actually it is coated. Similarly, in the case of convex mirror, a spherical mirror that has its reflecting surface curved outwards. So that means reflecting surface is curved outwards. You have to assume the light rays from the other direction only, from the outside only. Whereas in the previous case, the formal case actually, because it is curved inwards. So in that direction only, that is from inside only, we have to assume the light rays. So accordingly, we can have different images formed. So there are some important terms to be explained first in terms of spherical mirrors. So as far as spherical mirrors are concerned, there are some important definitions that we have to take into consideration. First one is center of curvature. Now the second one is focus, principal axis, pole, focal length, and radius of curvature. I repeat, center of curvature, focus, principal axis, pole, focal length, and radius of curvature. So we see one by one the definitions of the same. First one is center of curvature, as the name implies. So if you take a concave mirror or a convex mirror out of a spherical mirror, so therefore if you extend the surface like concave or convex surface, like to complete the spherical path, like here, you can easily get to the curvature, whatever the curvature on which we assume that concave or convex mirror. So for that curvature, taking that as an entire circle. So if you take exactly, if you locate one center for that circle, that becomes the center of curvature. So whatever the curvature that is extended, when extended forms a circle, and the center of that circle is said to be center of curvature and is represented by the symbol capital C. So it is the center of the sphere of which the mirror is a part. So as I just mentioned, whether concave or convex, so it is a center of the sphere of which the mirror is a part in 3 dimensions. Now coming to the radius of curvature, whatever the center of curvature we have just seen. So from that center of curvature, if you just draw, okay, if you just draw up to the circumference, then you get radius of curvature. So it is the radius of the sphere of which the mirror is a part. Now coming to very important definitions called pole. So because we have only curved either set convex and concave mirrors, so as their curvatures we are taking. So therefore, the geometric center of the curvature, center of the curvature is said to be pole. It is the center of the spherical mirror. Now, principal axis is an axis which passes through the pole, center of curvature, and so on and so forth, like that. So therefore, through the center of curvature and the pole. Next, you can see over here actually, this is because this is a convex mirror. As we just told you, it is bulged out. Actually, the reflecting portion is the bulged out portion. That is, outer portion is the reflecting portion. So here actually the light rays are to be assumed from the left hand side only, whereas the mirror is it is coated from the inside. So see here, you can expect on the same sphere, you can expect both the things. So here it is, the left portion is acting, this particular curvature is acting as a convex mirror, right? So similarly, you have concave mirror also in the second diagram, wherein the outer portion is, yes, it is coated. So therefore, the inner portion is to be assumed as a reflecting surface. So that means your object is also there, must be there from the inner side. So here the object must be from outer side. So that's how, what is the difference we have seen. That is, you can see in both the cases, both convex or concave, both are part of hollow sphere, as such, hollow sphere of glass. As you can see, exactly this is the center, this is the curvature. If you extend this curvature, you get a sphere, and the center of the sphere is said to be center of the curvature. Similarly, because as the name implies, curvature and its center, so center of curvature. Now, the principal axis, you can also very clearly see that it is the pole, the geometric location, the geometric center of the convex mirror or concave mirror. So exactly the center is said to be pole, and whatever the straight line or axis that is passing through the pole and center of curvature is said to be this one, right? Principal axis. So the same applies here also. So accordingly, we can also define radius of curvature. So radius of curvature is either the distance between P and C, that is pole and center of curvature, or the other way. Yes, you can see in the case of concave mirror. Next thing is, yes, focus and focal length of spherical mirrors. That's very important. So far, we have seen the other definitions. Now coming to what is principal focus. As the name implies, so it is focus or concave mirror. Focus of a concave mirror. It's a point on the principal axis where all the all the rays parallel to the principal axis they converge. So you can see actually here the image. Here it is a concave mirror. So light rays are assumed to be coming in this direction. Once they get reflected from the inner surface, they all come and converge at a particular point, so which is said to be the focus. So you can see the focus between pole and center of curvature. So where exactly the lines get traveled, and yes, so that is how we can calculate. So wherever the light rays are focused, it's said to be principal focus. Now, similarly, the other way also, if you have the source of light exactly at the focus, then whatever the light rays they reflect from the mirror, they travel in the direction, all will travel in the parallel direction to the of principal axis. So that's how we can calculate. So focus of convex mirror is slightly different, like it is a point on the principal axis where the reflected rays appear to converge. So for now, if you look at focus of convex, the second case where we have coated surface in the this one, as shown in the figure, it's a point on the principal axis where the reflected rays appear to converge. So they only appear to converge. So yeah, that is how we can calculate the focus. Now focal length is the distance between the pole and of course the focus. So therefore, the distance between the pole and the principal focus is said to be the focal length of the spherical mirror. Now, radius of curvature is 2 times that of focal length. Generally, in general, radius of curvature is 2 times that of the focal length of any mirror. Right. Now, radius of curvature is represented by the symbol capital R. So this is how there are some reflection of light through spherical mirrors. So there are some rules. There are some rules that we have to look at to understand reflection of light through spherical mirrors. Yeah, we will see this. Now, what are the rules for reflection of light through spherical mirrors? As we just described a concave and convex mirror. First thing is, if you look at concave mirror, what are the basic rules? So based on which we can have the analysis of a concave mirror. So first thing is, if you look at the rules, the first rule is that in a concave mirror, a ray of light that is parallel to the principal axis after reflection will pass through the focus or appear to diverge from the focus, right? In case of a convex mirror. Now, once again, in a concave mirror, actually a ray of light parallel to the principal axis. You can see here in the diagram that this is the principal axis and the ray of light that is AD, which is parallel to the principal axis. Definitely after reflection, it comes via focus. Now, they appear to diverge. Now, they appear to diverge from the focus in case of a convex. In case of a convex, you have to assume the light rays are coming from this direction. So then, if they just appear to be coming from a particular place, from location, so that's what we can see here. So in the case of convex, that is what we have P and R. Now, yes, a ray passing through the focus of a concave mirror after reflection will emerge parallel to the principal axis. So the thing is that a ray passing through the focus of a concave mirror. So far we have seen, now a ray passing through the focus of a concave mirror after reflection will emerge parallel to the principal axis. Will emerge parallel to the principal axis, right? Now, a ray passing through the focus of a concave mirror after reflection will emerge parallel to the principal axis. That's very important. A ray passing through the focus of a concave mirror after reflection will emerge parallel to the principal axis. Will emerge parallel to the principal axis. That's what we can see. Now, some other rules are there, like a ray passing through the center of curvature, rather. So it after reflection is reflected back along the same path. See, a ray passing through the center of curvature, as we have been seeing in this case, like the light rays are traveling in this direction through the center of curvature. After reflection is reflected back along the same path. So this is the only particular phenomena wherein we have reflection in the same direction. Exactly and absolutely the same direction under this one. Yeah. So once again, we'll see a ray passing through the center of curvature. On the other hand, after reflection is reflected back along the same path. Now you can see this is how This is how the light rays are traveling via center of focus, center of curvature, and once it hits actually the mirror, so they travel in the same direction in which they came. So that's how it gets reflected. Now, so convex is also the same. Only thing is the difference things. That is the only difference. So in the case of a convex, the same. In the case of a convex also, we can have the same, like the light rays coming via the center of curvature will reflect back in the same direction. Similarly, a ray incident obliquely to the principal axis. That is, say here, to the principal axis towards the pole on the spherical mirror is reflected back obliquely. If there is an oblique incidence, there will be oblique reflection. So that's what we have: oblique incidence and oblique reflection. Right. We'll see the rest in the second part of reflection and refraction. Thank you.